That was a masterpiece. I mean, I'm gonna give it 5 reels for sure. What?
Welcome back to the Real Screeners, everyone. We have an unusual but very special treat today. On board with us, we have Bill Marinella with Bill Marinella Casting, and we have Hope Orange, who is a member of Bill Marinella Casting, or was hired by Bill Marinella Casting, I should say.
She's an actress and a stand-in and a photo double. And that's what my company does, is we hire performers for their various skills, in addition to being stand-ins and background actors. And so this is what I do, and this is a unique opportunity and a unique way to get into the film business.
Can you talk about the booking process and how actors and actresses can get into the biz? What do they have to do? What do you look for? How does it start off as?
Yeah, the process.
Sure. So we get a show in town. I got The Cleaning Lady, which is on Fox. It's getting good reviews. We won't know if we're picked up for a season 2 or until May.
Isn't it on Hulu?
It's on Hulu and Fox. Yeah, it's for the Fox show.
I was talking last night to someone about this show, and they said, watch it. It's a great show. Yeah, The Cleaning Lady.
Yeah, and so that's the first show that I had gotten in Albuquerque, which is the reason I came. And so the casting process is we get information from production about the episode, and then we have to find stand-ins and background actors that are reflective of what's written on the screen. And so that can be kind of interesting when you're in a place such as New Mexico, when you're trying to portray Las Vegas. As an example, a lot of the people that I might want for Vegas, you might think should have blonde hair or red hair. And a lot of folks out here, they have dark hair and dark skin. So you kind of have to pick and choose and go into little neighborhoods to find certain people to make it look like the reflection of the script. And so that's my job, is I get a breakdown, and I put a breakdown out on the internet through my company. And then people would apply to the role for that. And, these are all paid roles, and so you get paid for the COVID test. That's the first thing you should know. We constantly have to be on top of COVID. And so COVID decimated my files. And so it's a constant search for people. And you really, really have to apply yourself to find folks.
Can you maybe talk a little bit about what the difference is between a background actor, featured background, photo double, stand-ins, that type of thing, just to kind of get anybody who's interested in this to kind of become a little more familiar about the different roles they can take on?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I could say is that anybody can do background work. Obviously, if you're under 18, there's going to be certain rules and regulations that we have to follow according to that state. There's contracts that need to be signed for minors or parents of minors and things like that. But as an example, for a project called Dark Winds, I needed an all-native cast. And so as an example, that's where I met Hope at an open call, and she applied. And she actually portrayed one of the tribes in the actual project. I can't say which one, but I can say that the storyline centers around the Navajo reservation. And then so I would find different people to portray the Navajo reservation. And Hope actually started on camera. And then because she was this certain height and complexion and hair color of one of the main actors, she got to stand in for one of the actresses. And so then she became part of the camera department. So when you're part of the camera department, it's almost like your film crew. So that's how you kind of work your way up. And so like a background actor giving a reaction shot, some would say that would be featured. Some would say that's just the luck of the draw. They needed somebody to just give a look to the camera because it's important in the story. And so, but a lot of people create their own little worlds when they're there. It's important to have something to do in your mind when you cross the street, even though you're way in the back. You've got to have a little moxie about you. You got to go forward with it, because you never know how it's going to turn out. And so I can, we could probably let Hope talk a little bit about that, what she does. And her job now is basically stand in, and sometimes she did photo double for one of the main actors.
Yeah, Hope. Let's kind of backtrack real quick and just talk about, what got you interested in becoming a background actor, and how did you find Bill? And then we'll talk about your specific tasks.
Well, I've been acting since I was about 8. I went to a performing arts school in Santa Fe called the Mexico School for the Arts. And then I finished high school, the pandemic happened, and actually I just saw an open casting call on like Facebook or something, I did it and I left the country for like 9 months and I got it. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Forgot about it. Moved back. And then, I was kind of like, man, like, I don't know what to do with my time. My boyfriend had worked in film before. He was a rigger. And they do a lot of like the behind the scenes, like heavy lifting, setting things up. Totally different than background.
Sure.
And I think I don't remember. I started doing this all last August. I think I must have seen an open call on Facebook or something. There's like a lot of Facebook groups that, a lot of different casting companies will post on. And like there's a lot of networking on them. And so I went and I did it, and then I've been doing it since then.
Were there a lot of requirements, or was it pretty easy and seamless?
No, I think that's the fun thing. There's no like can't I mean, if you want to be featured or there's like specific roles, like sometimes it'll be like, do you have any guitar? Like I had to send in some video where it was like a featured band and they're like, can you play guitar? Send us a video of you playing guitar. But most of the time it's, you're walking across the street or you're sitting having coffee or, it's just completely normal day stuff. The schedule is very sporadic. So, and it also differs between background and stand-in. When you're stand-in, especially a more long-term stand-in like I was, because I was standing in for one of the like, I think she was number 3 on the call sheet, so she's in a lot of the episodes. So that's like pretty consistent work. You get to spend a lot more time with the crew. You're usually, you form better bonds, and you get a lot better idea of like what the actual story is, and like it's a better opportunity, I think, than background to kind of observe, and you get more opportunities to ask questions. But background, it's a lot more immersive and you're also usually that schedule is a lot more sporadic because sometimes you're there for the full day because you're in multiple scenes, and sometimes you come, you shoot a scene for 2 hours, and you're out. But the nice thing is that with the pay, you're almost always guaranteed a full 8 hours. So sometimes you work 12 hours and you get some overtime. Sometimes you work 2 and you get 8. So
Yeah,
it's a give and a take.
Has this experience maybe changed the direction that you thought your life was going in right now, or maybe opened your mind to new possibilities?
Oh yeah. I mean, when I finished high school, I've done it for a long time. I've done acting for a long time. I was kind of like, all right, well, that was fun, but I'm done with that. But I think it's kind of reignited my interest in acting and just like film work in general. And I started to get each different role, and I got so many good opportunities and connections from Darkwind that like have, and the more that I work in the industry, the more I'm seeing familiar faces, and I'm not only making like professional connections, but also like friendships, and like it's a whole little community. It's really cool.
There might be some people out there who might look at being a background actor and say, well, I just don't know if there's much opportunity there. But how would you persuade them or convince them that, hey, look, this is your foot in the door and the possibilities are endless?
I mean, I say, to people right now that are going to film school, they spend $40,000 a year, and then 3 years later, they're in debt and they've never set foot on a real movie set. And who can get them their first day on a movie set? Me.
Yep.
You could get paid to see how they all work together, see how everybody interacts. Because I've literally had some people, well, I'm going to cinematography school and I can't do extra work. I don't want to be an extra. And I'm like, well, why not? And I talked to this guy for a little while and he said, you know what, that makes a good point, because I've never actually seen a real set. I've only seen what I've done in school.
Awesome. So as we're approaching the end of our interview here, we would love to hear what you both have to say about what tips do you have for anyone who is interested. I would love to hear from the both of you. Like, what do you recommend for people who want to get involved?
I would definitely say the first thing you should do is have a flexible schedule. So if you have a child, you need to have childcare, because we don't work 9 to 5. We work very odd hours. We work long hours. Even though we do most of my work, I don't go into an office anymore, to a production office. It saves me an hour drive each day, but I'm still working, and then you come home with that work at night because we have to book people out for the next day. And so COVID has added another layer. So you definitely should have a flexible schedule. And for those of you that want to be interested, you could go to the website and sign up. I do shows all over the country. So I might have a spot for you in Savannah, Georgia, Atlanta, Baltimore, DC. You just never know. Albuquerque, Santa Fe. And so you definitely should have a real job, a regular job to fall back on. But if you're looking for some extra income and you just really want to do it just once in your life, I would recommend trying it, because it's one of those bucket list things to be in a movie, and maybe you'll get seen, but maybe your scene will be cut and you'll never know what happened to it. But you start to learn things and you'll see how things are put together, because streaming services, boy, did they boom during the pandemic. Everybody's story can now be told. No matter what race or religion you are, there is something for everybody. And it's not this poly purebred white world out there anymore. And I think that's magnificent. We can tell Black stories, we could tell Native stories, we could tell Asian stories. And so I would suggest that everybody try it. And Hope's stand-in, actress, background actor.
What would you say
Yes.
as far as like their materials, their resources, preparing, say, like photos and resumes? What tips would you have for that?
So, I mean, I think your real life resume is your best resume to have. For instance, whenever we do a scene where there's real SWAT, I want guys that are real SWAT. We pay more money because I don't know how to carry a gun. And if you ask me to, I might fit in the costume, but I'm going to look like Barney Fife holding a rifle. It's not going to look right. So we find the real people to portray the real people on TV. For instance, if I need a forklift operator, that's an OSHA requirement. You have to have a hard hat. You have to know how to drive a forklift. It's a requirement. So I can't just hire you or me to drive the forklift. No, you can't do that. So you want to use your resources. For instance, in the state of New Mexico, they have a the Film Commission. There's a crew list there, and then also different Facebook groups. There's lots of Facebook groups you can join and start your networking. It takes a while, but you'll start seeing all these little nooks and crannies of how people interact with one another. As far as pictures, use your iPhone. Don't go out and spend hundreds of dollars on a headshot. You're just doing background work for now. Then once you decide you want to take it seriously, you'll take a class, right? And then maybe you'll get an agent, and that agent is going to require you to take a professional headshot. That's just the way it is. Yeah, exactly.
Great perspective.
Right.
And Hope, what would you have to say about, breaking in, and advice you would have for those who are wanting to, become background actors and whatnot?
I'd say just like be ready to like literally jump in the deep end, especially as background. You're usually, just because it's such a fast-paced environment, people don't have time to stop and explain to you like, all the way what we're doing or why things are like this or whatever. So you kind of just got to get ready to like follow what's going on, be ready to go, be polite to everyone, like be flexible with your schedule. That's a big thing.
So for headshots and resumes, just use your iPhone. What is your real life skill? Highlight those things. If you speak more than one language, that should be in bold letters, so I know I can use you as an interpreter, perhaps, because sometimes that happens. They need me to find somebody that can speak a certain language, not to be on camera, but to actually teach the actor or to just read lines with the actor.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
As an example, that's happened to me several times. And then we need I'll give you an example. Real chefs. If you're a real chef, you have flame retardant clothing at home because it's part of your job. And how to saute. So if you watch The Cleaning Lady, those people that are with the flambe and the saute, those are real chefs. They're professional chefs that chop the onions with the knives, things like, you would be surprised how much detail goes into such specific things. It's really incredible. And so do student films, do films with your friends. If you want to have classes, just do classes with each other until you find a class that you get comfortable with, but never stop learning and never stop your quest.
I'd also say, just like as a native, I'm not sure. I mean, this is how it is right now in New Mexico. I'm not sure how it is like across the country, but I definitely think like I was kind of like, oh, I don't know how much I'm going to get callbacks just because I'm not white, which, it's just like a thing. Not true. Totally not true anymore. Like, if don't be scared, like no matter like, what you look like or whatever, it's like not a like, oh, who's pretty, who's, who's tall, who's skinny, whatever. Like, just whatever you look like, there's probably something
for you.
You could be casted.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
that's
an
good that things are
open
changing.
world these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, do you happen to have any projects you can speak to near like Las Cruces or El Paso? We're based in El Paso, so I'm sure a lot of people would like to know how far would they need to travel to get to one of your projects.
For you folks in Texas, check with your local film commission about which group does the extras casting, because that's where you want to start. You want to start with the extras casting. And a lot of people always say, well, I want a speaking line, but you can't get a speaking line without an agent, and you just don't know, you just can't just expect to go on and get a speaking line. You got to start at the bottom. It's just the way it is. But as far as in Texas, like we're in Albuquerque right now. I don't know how many miles it is from Texas. But if, you got to remember, you got to come in a day before for the COVID test, and then you got to wait to work for the next day. So you got a hotel gas, you got to figure out what's worth it to you. So, maybe if you're on vacation for a week and you want to come try to be an extra, try to find something in your town. But because Albuquerque is a little bit of a drive, I think,
Well, that's basically going to wrap up our interview, guys. We do appreciate having you on. But before we go, we do want to ask, where can we find each of you, both on, like a website and also on social media? We'll start with you, Bill.
So my casting page is for Atlanta is Bill Marinella Casting Inc. And then my casting page for New Mexico is Bill Marinella Casting New Mexico. And in Atlanta, currently I'm casting the Blue Beetle.
Oh, nice.
The DC comic book. And I'm sworn to secrecy on that.
And we need to move to Atlanta temporarily, okay?
For a month or so.
We need a couple hundred extras a few days in a row. And then
that would be so much fun.
I just did the Halloween movie. Michael Myers Never Dies. So I just did the Halloween movie in Savannah, and I'm going to do an Abraham Lincoln project in Savannah. So I go where the tax credits are. That I follow the tax credit circus. And so if you don't have tax credits in your state, you're going to have to probably do some traveling. So get together with some friends and try to get on some of those calls, even if they're like big group calls where we need 100 extras in the stands. At least you're on a movie set. You guys can split gas and split a hotel room and split the driving. But don't get discouraged if you don't get called right away. Sometimes it's just not in the cards for a variety of reasons. Things get canceled, they go over budget, they cut the scene because of weather. Things happen. And some people have come 3 or 4 hours and then, oh, it's raining this week. That scene's been rescheduled till the end of the shoot now, and you've just spent $200 on gas. So it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Hope, would people be able to reach out to you if they have any questions?
My Instagram is Hope-a-dope, or if you just look up Hope Orange.
Okay, we definitely will. Bethel, do you have anything else you would like to add or ask?
No, I think that we've had a great conversation. It was a pleasure speaking with the two of you. And I hope the best for you, Hope. I hope that you continue to expand and that all your dreams come true. Yeah, that's all I have for now.
Yeah, we wish you guys all the best, and thank you so much for being on the show at The Real Screeners. I'm sure a lot of people watching this will find this information invaluable. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Continue to watch The Cleaning Lady so we can get a season 2.
I'm going to start it. I'm going to start it soon. I promise. Yes. All right. Thank you for being on The Real Screeners. Okay. And have a great rest of your day, guys.